So tonight I wanted to talk about this psychological inoculation and sphericism, this spherical idea. Recently, John David Ebert spoke about Marshall McLuhan, so I did some research on Marshall McLuhan. And Marshall McLuhan mentioned the difference between visual orientation and auditory or listening orientation. And the visual orientation is specific, creates time, and with time comes a beginning, middle, and end. Whereas with the auditory, it's a 360 degree in which we listen and hear, and there's a simultaneity in that everything's happening at once with our hearing. And he even mentions that quote, I think, of Socrates that states, to the blind man, everything is sudden. Or perhaps that was John David Ebert that mentions that. Well, my sister's blind, and recently my sister went through an intense surgery, and her life was in the hands of the surgeon as well as the hospital. And cheers to health professionals. I want to thank you for your service. I want to thank you for your efforts, and I'm glad you were called to do that. So all of these things are working within me intensely at this moment. This idea of the blind and everything being sudden for the blind person, and my experience with my sister, who's a brilliant, brilliant woman. So brilliant, I see my own faults, how I'm influenced by her. And I have this arrogance that is so obvious on these videos, but I'm working through it. I just go through it. I'm going to present myself exactly as I am. If I'm arrogant, I'm arrogant. Adaptation, mutation, work with it, accept it, whatever. It is what it is. What am I going to do about it? Move forward. As Goethe said, Goethe, or Goethe, the only way is through. So, by presenting myself here, being completely as honest as I'm capable at this moment in time, I confront myself by presenting myself as I am, and I work with it. But as far as the psychological inoculation goes, in the previous video I was talking about how different religions have different psychological inoculations that work for a specific type of individual. So certain individuals will like inoculations from this religious doctrine. Other individuals will like the inoculations from this religious doctrine. And it has to do with, where are our weaknesses. And recently I came to the awareness that I have some relatives that are in juxtaposition. Intimate relatives. One is completely surrendered to the church of religion, and the other is completely surrendered to the church of science, which I find very interesting. It's just like, ooh. But also I have the connotation that a church is a field of inoculation. So this inoculation protects the individual. So those living in the sciences protect themselves from the religious. Those living within the religious protect themselves from the science. And this is about stability of mind, of sound mind and body, is what Napoleon Hill stated. He auto-suggested to himself that he wanted to be of sound mind and body. So we find our area of stability, and it may be within a mystical experience, or it may be within a scientific experience. But what I've found personally is that the individuals that I admire stay within the realm of which they thrive. And I'm really unconcerned or unjudgmental, non-racist, so to say, about what that area is, unless it, does harm to people. And because I have this limitation of doing harm, around here there's a lot of bumper stickers that say "do no harm," which is basically the mantra of social services. All state services and governmental services have this axiom of "do no harm." So basically anybody that says "do no harm" with a bumper sticker on their car, I say, oh, there's a social servant. There's somebody serving society. This is their mantra. Om Arapatsana di 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 di, or however you want to put it. That's a Tibetan thing, but we all got our mantras. So I know this one guy. One of his mantras is call a duck. It's just a mantra. It's just a stabilizing limitation within the gilded cage of our knowledge base. If you know what I mean.